Welcome to this overview of MPC Beats. MPC Beats is a new music production software that's absolutely free, giving you the feel and groove of the MPC workflow. If you're a new music producer or beat maker starting out your musical journey, then MPC Beats will give you all the tools you need. From MIDI to audio tracks, plug-in instruments and effects, and a sound library designed by world-class sound designers. MPC Beats can run on your desktop fully standalone or as a plugin inside your favorite DAW. MPC Beats delivers everything from sample chops to MPC swing and quantize to a world of producer expansion packs, enhancing your productions. So let's dive in and have a closer look at MPC Beats. Hi there. Now, as soon as you launch MPC Beats, it will walk you through a very simple process. First, let's connect our MPK Mini, and this will be auto-detected by MPC Beats. You can also load maps for other keyboard and pad controllers directly from our factory list. Once selected, press Next, then MPC Beats will ask you to select Simple or Advanced mode. If you're new to music production, use Simple. If you've got some music background knowledge, you can use Advanced. Now let's press Next, and now we're ready to make some beats. MPC Beats will now display a whole list of projects and demo songs to get you up and running. Let's start by selecting the trap demo song. This will preload a collection of kits and instruments so you can start making beats. To also get you started, there's an open help button that takes you directly to the quick start guide. You can open this up or you can close down the help button. Now that we've loaded up our project, let's press play and hear some beats. Now, the first thing you're going to see inside MPC Beats are the 16 MPC pads, which is where our drum samples are located. Each sample displayed inside the pad has a dedicated color displaying the sample type, such as a kick, snare, hi-hats, melodic and loops. Now, to trigger the sample pads, you can either use the pads on your controller, the keys on your keyboard, or directly from your computer. Now, above our MPC pads is our drum grid. This is where you're going to be spending most of your time. To record our beat ideas into our drum grid, we can use the pads on our controller, a MIDI keyboard, or draw them directly into the grid by hand. We can access features such as note repeat inside MPC Beats. Simply arm note repeat, press your pad, and now you can add triplets to your hi-hat rolls. This is great for trap and hip-hop. To edit notes on our drum grid, we can use our toolbar. This allows us to add notes, erase, copy, paste, and move notes around our drum grid. We can also draw in key parameters such as velocity, panning, and automation directly under our drum grid. Above our drum grid, we have our transport controls. This allows us to record and play back our beats. To the left of our transport, we have our track inspector. This displays key information such as sequence name, track name, and our track type, such as drums, sampled instruments, plug-in instruments, MIDI, clip launching, and CV gate. MPC Beats features 8 MIDI tracks for your beats and your instruments and 2 stereo audio tracks. This is great for vocals, melodic sample melodies, which can be edited, time stretched, reversed, all in real time against your beat production. Below this, we have our pad and track, mixer and pan levels to easily adjust our drums. At the top of our screen, we have our home button. This takes us always back to our main working window. Then we have track view. This displays all of our tracks and note information in one key screen. Then we have program edit. This allows you to customize your drum kits, such as changing the key of samples, layering, adding filters and envelopes. The last tab is our channel mixer, allowing you to control the levels of your beats. You have a selection of over 100 studio-grade effects from Air Music Tech that you can apply to your beats. Next to our drum pads are the 16 Q-Link control knobs. These are pre-assigned to your keyboard or pad controller so you can control the swing, time division, the playhead, zoom in and out, and much more. You can also access mixer levels, project settings, instrument settings, or create your own custom assignments. To access MPC Beats sound libraries, press the Browser tab. You can now access the factory library expansions. Here you can preview kits and samples from some of the world's best sound designers. You can also purchase MPC Beats Edition expansion packs created by industry-leading artists such as Arab Music, Snipe Young, Decap Drums That Knock, MSX Audio, and much more. Simply click on an expansion, go down to Programs, and now you can preview the kit. Simply drag the kit into MPC Beats and start producing today. MPC Beats workflow makes it really fun and intuitive to make beats. So the first thing we need to do is start off with an empty sequence. So let's go to an unused sequence, and then let's name that. We'll call this new beat. Now let's make our beat 4 bars long, and we have our loop mode enabled, so our beat will continually loop around. Now let's enter a tempo, 140 BPM, and now we'll go to our first track. This is a drum track. So let's call this drums. Now below this, we go to our program and we select our drum program, which is called Lo-Fi Kit. This has now loaded our drum kit directly onto our 16 pads. Now to play our drum kit, let's use our controller keyboard. Now our pads are playing the first 8 samples. If we press Bank B, we can now play the upper 8 samples. So now we're going to record our beat. The first thing I'm going to do is turn on my quantize, and I'm going to set my time division to 1/16. This means anything I record is going to be in time. So let's hit record on our transport control and start with a melodic. Let's use our control knob so we can zoom out and see our entire grid. Now let's go to Bank A, where our kick and snare and hi-hat is. Now that we recorded our idea, let's use note repeat, and then we can add some triplets to our hi-hats. We'll change our time division to 1/32 triplet. And now you can hear the rolls. Now that's recorded, let's turn note repeat off, and let's add some additional drum parts. Now let's go to Bank B and we'll add some percussion and some vocal elements. Now let's add an 808 bass line. Let's select a sound, and then we're going to select 16 levels. This will chromatically tune the sound across all 16 of our drum pads. This is a fast way to add bass lines to your beats. Now let's go to track 2 and add a piano. This is from the F9 Instrument Beats Edition that comes free with MPC Beats. Now let's add a Rhodes. And now we'll finish our track with a top melody. Chopping samples in MPC Beats is a fast and easy way to create new melodic ideas from loops. So to chop a sample, let's first find some samples to work with. I'm using my sample pool to listen to some of my sounds. Let's work with this sample. Let's drag it onto a pad. I'm going to double click my sample, and now we're inside Sample Edit. Now we have a list of tools to edit our sample, such as reverse, normalize, fade in, fade out, time stretch. Now to chop our sample, let's hit chop. I can now use the pads on my pad controller to chop the sample up in real time. As the sample's playing, I'm laying down my chops. We can also draw this in by hand. Just simply go over the WAV file and click and put the chop in. Now once we finish chopping our loop, we want to use these on a beat. So let's press New Program, then we'll press Do It, and now MPC Beats has automatically created a drum program with our sample chops. Let's add this to our beat. Let's use our pad controller to trigger our samples. MPC Beats features an easy-to-use chords and scales mode. This allows you to add melodics and chord progressions to the key of your song over your beats. This is a great feature if you don't have an understanding of music theory. Now to access notes mode, let's select an instrument. We're going to use a Rhodes, and let's press Pad Performance. Now we can see our progression types. For notes, we're going to use chromatic. When in chromatic mode, only the notes of the scale will be highlighted on the pads. When notes is selected, all notes of the key will be visible. We can select our key root note. We can select our different types of scale types, and then where we want the octave to start. To play chords in MPC Beats, select the chords mode, and here we can go from our menu and select our scale type, such as major, minor, different types of chords, and we can select thirds, fifths, sevenths, giving your beats a professional feel. If you select progressions, you now have a list of preset chords that you can choose from for different genres of music. You can also create all of your own progressions and save them into the user bank. MPC Beats features 3 powerful internal plug-in instruments and a collection of sample-based instruments that you can add over your beats. The first internal plug-in instrument is Tube Synth. This emulates the warm and rich sound of analog synthesizers, giving you access to everything from lead patches to atmospheric pads. The next is Electric, emulating the smooth, silky sound of the classic electric Rhodes, adding depth and textures to your productions. And then there's Bassline, emulating the deep low end for any electronic or dance track. Then we have the F9 Beats Edition instrument collection. This offers you a wide range of instruments and presets, covering everything from rich pianos and pads to 808 basses, elegant strings, lo-fi pianos, the perfect sounds for modern pop, R&B, trap and hip-hop to electronic. To mix your beats and productions, MPC Beats features an easy-to-use mixer environment. Simply press the Mixer tab, and now you have access to all of your levels to control your beats. We can solo and mute our tracks. Or you can add plug-in effects to individual drums and tracks from the collection of air effects included inside MPC Beats. You can select from dynamic compressors, mastering, EQs and filters, harmonics and lo-fi. MPC Beats also includes our official emulations of the MPC 60, the MPC 3000, SP 1200 and the SP 1200 Ring. Adding these to your master bus will add the classic vintage sound of these iconic drum machines to your mixes. MPC Beats also supports third-party plugin effects that you can add directly to your beats. So if you want to learn more about MPC Beats, head over to the Akai Pro website and start watching some of our Beats Academy tutorial videos. This will get you up and running instantly. We cover everything from making your first beat to making your own drum kits. So see you next time.